All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is A. Mendoza. Dominic Biles is not in today, so I'll be taking his place. So just calling this meeting to order. I think now we'll go ahead and turn it over to Tyler for roll call.
Thank you, Abe. I will now begin roll call. Abe Mendoza,
Present.
Christina Jones,
Present.
Christopher Bennell,
Present.
Michael Sorensen,
Present.
Curtis Kimbrough,
Present.
and then our committee members who are absent today are Elaine Edmond, Dominic Biles, Sharon Solero, and Alwyn Brown. I will now do roll call for the HR EEO staff. Blair Eversley,
Present.
Constance Bibbs,
Present.
Mikhail Mitchell,
Present.
Patrick Wallach,
Present.
Nicole DeVincenzi.
Present.
That concludes roll call for the HR EEO office. And now we'll pass it on to Abe Mendoza for approval of the June minutes.
All right, for the minutes for June 3rd, 2026. Anybody have any concerns with the minutes? If not, then I'll accept a motion to pass the minutes.
Make a
move.
motion to pass the minutes.
Second.
All right. Call for the vote. Aye.
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 All right.
Abstain.
minutes. Abstain.
I wasn't here. Thank you.
All right, now's the time for public comment. Do you have any public comments in the room or in the chat? All right, seeing there's no public comments, turn it over for the to HR for the EEO program report update.
All right, good afternoon. Nicole DeVincenzi, Assistant Human Resources Director, and I'll be giving the program updates today. As you may notice, our EEO Program Manager, Mr. David Davis, is currently out of the office. In his absence, Blair Eversley, who is a Personnel Analyst 3 in Human Resources, has been assisting with the administrative program functions for the EEO unit. In addition to day-to-day program support, he will be leading the review of the 2026-2028 EEO plan, which he will discuss later in the meeting. Mr. Eversley, in his role as the HR project manager, which is his typical hat, he has also been working to review the EEO policy. He's in the process of completing proposed revisions and will bring the policy back before the committee for review once those are complete. An overall review and assessment of all HR units, including the EEO program, is underway by our interim HR director, Robert Bonner. The goal of this assessment is to identify areas where efficiencies can be introduced to improve the overall effectiveness of the EEO program. This includes training and education, evaluation and improvement of investigation turnaround times, and appropriate allocation of resources, among many other factors. Additional information on these program enhancements will be shared at future meetings. A final update regarding the previously discussed EEO coordinator training, which was tentatively scheduled for August 26th. Due to some staffing shortages, we will be rescheduling this with an anticipated date in September to be determined. In terms of our Civil Service Rule 20 complaints, there are 37 active complaints in various phases of the formal complaint investigation process. There are 5 complaints pending review and determination, and there are 7 cases pending an appeal hearing before the Civil Service Commission. If there are any questions about any of these updates, I will do my best to answer them. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Next, we move on to some old business here, an update to the EEO plan timeline. And that is HR.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. I am Blair Eversley, the interim EEO program manager. So just to give a brief update on the EEO plan timeline, we are approximately 90% complete in the revisions for the 2026 to 2028 EEO plan. We are currently compiling reports in partnership with our position control and employment services teams to address, compile, and analyze reports such as our applicant reports, selections, and management and non-management of our county workforce, and county underutilization and overutilization analyses. And this biennial update will focus on ways to ensure we embed equitable and inclusive practices through all phases of personnel management within San Joaquin County.
I have a question.
Yes.
So there is a subcommittee, which I volunteered for. I haven't heard anything. I think Dominic might be on it as well, but I'm just curious, at what point does the subcommittee start working with EEO on that?
I may defer this to one of the other EEO team members that I have, just since I'm also kind of filling in and
Yeah.
also getting my bearings. So if anyone has any guidance or questions on that, that would be great.
I'll step into that. So the EEO committee was the advisory committee for that side. That subcommittee was created late last year so that we could start to establish this plan. One of the things that we knew very early on from the EEOAC was that we really wanted the reports to look and feel a little bit different. So I think that initially HR has taken the burden of doing some of that so that they have something to produce to you. Knowing that the committee is established, that the subcommittee is established, EEO team will be reaching out fairly soon so that they can start to set up some of those conversations with you all, so that you can start to have your hand in some of that development and getting your feedback prior to bringing it back here to the committee, the larger committee, for decisions being made on finalizing that plan.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? All right, seeing that there's none, we'll move on to the next topic here. Update for the subcommittee communication regarding, let's see here, the diversity luncheon. So we've been, the subcommittee's been hard at work for the past month or so, month and a half, and we finalized some things here already. So there was an all-staff email that went out by HR for the 26th annual diversity luncheon. Theme this year is a seat at the table for every voice. It's going to be held Thursday, September 10th from noon to 1:30 p.m. Ticket prices are $20. It's going to be catered by Marathi Eats, and it's going to be held at the office, Agricultural Center on Earhart Avenue. So we're excited to have our keynote speaker, Dr. Lakeisha Little-Shaw, who's a community leader and wellness advocate. So it's going to be a great event. So I encourage everybody to participate, attend, and yeah, again, September 10th from noon to 1:30 p.m. Did I miss anything else there from any fellow?
The only thing that I would say is, as far as the committee is concerned, one thing you might want to do is reach out to the members of this committee. Typically, the EEOAC does play a big hand in that diversity luncheon. So participation would look something like helping to serve the food as employees are coming in so that they see your faces and that you really take some ownership and are a part of that process. So I would encourage you to reach out to the committee members, the subcommittee members for that, or to Blair or Tyler to name your interest in participation on that. When you buy your tickets, you can even reach out because you'll need to purchase those tickets directly through Tyler. So as you're purchasing those tickets, if you do have an interest in that level of participation, it would be a great time to just let him know that you do have that interest.
All right, thank you for that. We'll go ahead and send out an email just to get everybody's interest, and we'll forward that to Tyler. Okay. There's any questions on that item? All right.
I just want to say I love the flyer. It looks great.
Good job, Tyler.
Yeah, good job, Tyler. It's all you. All right, moving right along. Introduction for the interim HR director.
Good afternoon. Robert Bonner, the interim director from Human Resources. Started back on June the 9th here at the Maine County Human Resources, and glad to be here. I started back in November with the county, and so this is my first meeting with you folks, and looking forward to a collaborative working relationship, and anything I can do to support the EEOC and all the things on the agenda, that's what I'm here to do. So,
Welcome aboard.
thank you.
All right. Good deal. All right. Next here we have the annual staff development report from Patrick Wallach.
Thank you so much. So I will wait for my report to be shown on the screen here. But my name is Patrick Wallach. I'm the staff development coordinator, and I help facilitate a lot of the trainings through our staff development office in collaboration with our EEO office. And so I will share some numbers here and just some descriptions of the courses that we teach as well. So currently within staff development, we offer a few trainings related to EEO, one of them being the HRLA Leave Administration. This is part of our Human Resources Leadership Academy, and this is for incoming leaders and anyone who is promoted to a leadership role within the county. This is one of the courses available there. Diversity, Respect, and Inclusion, I'll go over that in just a moment. This is part of orientation and also a mandatory course within the county. And then, of course, I'm sure all of you are familiar with the Sexual Harassment and Discrimination Prevention Training. We have two separate trainings for general staff, and we also have managers and supervisors version of that training as well. So just to go a little bit more in depth for these three courses I just outlined, one with the Leave Administration, again, this is part of our HRLA, and we have this 4 times a year. So we do 4 cohorts a year with HRLA. And if anyone needs to take this course for Leave Administration, of course, we can enroll people individually for this particular course, but it covers a variety of leave laws and requests for special accommodations, military leave, FMLA, all of the different protected leaves that are available in the county. And so this course is live, and we don't have any participant limits. So if we need to accommodate folks to take this course, we have the ability to do so. Diversity, Respect, and Inclusion. This is required every 5 years. And so this is part of our 2-day new employee orientation. So everyone who comes into the county will be taking this course on day 1 of new employee orientation. After that, they must take it every 5 years. New employee orientation, just FYI, is offered 26 times a year, every 2 weeks. And currently it is a live course with no participation limits. So we'll have over 100 at any given time in that course. Sexual Harassment Discrimination Prevention. This is required every 2 years under SB 1343. And I have another slide here. We'll go a little bit more in depth. So the California Civil Rights Department has an online training, and within the online training, there's both a supervisory and non-supervisory course available for folks to take. We verify completion of that course through a certificate. We also have a San Joaquin County created video, both for general staff and managers supervisors, and then we do provide all of the policy documents as part of new hire orientation. But during this refresh period, they have to take and review all of these materials again. So just go through some of our numbers from the last fiscal year. With HRLA, we taught or facilitated trainings for 126 staff. Sexual harassment, discrimination prevention for general staff. We have logged training completion for 3,324 staff members. For managers and supervisors, for the same training, it's 589 staff members within the county. And then diversity, respect, and inclusion. Over the past fiscal year, we've instructed 1,887 employees. So that's really all I have for the presentation today. I just want to give you that high-level overview of the courses we're instructing and the numbers. Yes?
I have a question. I'm Jesse Rankin, by the way. I'm the new deputy director with OES. My question to you, so I understand the trainings that you have. At any given time, do you allow for ad hoc training presentations where I, as a department, can request you to come in and do something in between those sessions? Is that Is that an option?
Absolutely, yeah. And so I would just suggest that you reach out to me. You can reach out to me directly and we can arrange something. We did hire a new PA2 within our department as well. And so we will have another trainer on the team. So we're very excited about that. And we are looking forward to those opportunities to work directly with departments.
Perfect. And is there additional flexibility in the duration? It can, obviously the content's important, but can you modify or adjust the?
Of course, yes. I think we can accommodate the specific department and make something, tailor it to your department too.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It also depends on the course. So some of these courses, like the sexual harassment, SB 1343 has strict requirements and guidelines around that. We haven't taught that one in person for some time, but we used to teach it in person. So depending on which course, and we always encourage every department head to reach out to us. We've developed programs in staff development where we've gone and done specific leadership training at a variety of different departments. So I think it really is just dependent, but reaching out to Patrick and staff development and the Engage unit will be able to always accommodate those. I know we also have 24/7 operations that we need to accommodate in certain situations on that as well.
I love it. So I'm very appreciative. I came from the federal side, retired out of the federal government, but the EEO staff has been very helpful to me. So I appreciate that as a side note, but this flexibility in the training is very helpful. So thank you.
No problem. Yes. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have kind of a question. So I'm on this committee as the employee representative, but I'm also an EEO coordinator. And recently had a informal complaint, and it was related to, well, the request was around training, right? Providing some additional training. So I know we have our HRLA trainings, but what I discovered in that process is that there are some other SJC Engage trainings available. And I don't know if this is specifically to HSA, but there are some trainings within 360 Learning that HSA has. And so I'm just curious if that was something that maybe could be offered to the entire county. So I just kind of wanted to read some of the ones, just so everyone is also aware that there's additional trainings in addition to what you shared, right? Because I just discovered it and I've been here, 8+ years. So it's like, oh, wow. So there's respect for all in the workplace. And then kindness, and that's through SJC Engage. And then through 360 Learning, there was defeating unconscious bias, microaggressions, global and cultural sensitivity, ensuring a respectful workplace, and appreciate diversity and inclusion. So I think those are, I haven't taken any, so I can't vouch for them, but I think they're maybe worth exploring as being able to be offered or remind staff that they're also available too.
Okay, I'll connect with you on that one.
Thank you.
One thing I will say is there are sorry, guys, I used to be the staff development coordinator, then was promoted into this role. So Patrick's fairly new-ish, kind of, not really. But we do offer a wide variety of elective courses through our wellness program that we consider to be those other courses that you named through Engage. The ones that we're highlighting here really are some of those more mandatory courses and things that we require of staff. But there's a wide variety of topics that hit on things that have to do potentially with EEO, but a lot of other areas. So we always strongly encourage everybody to review the Engage site for all of the courses that we offer, because our range of the types of classes that we offer are a wide variety of areas, professional development, personal, physical, emotional, financial. So there are a lot of preparedness courses that we try to offer to all of our staff. And so it's one of the things that we're really going to be highlighting now that we have a stronger team here in staff development now moving forward. We're really going to try and push that. So I appreciate you naming that for anybody listening so that they are aware of that, and particularly for any new leadership, right? Trying to understand some of the capabilities that we have with our training program. It is really robust what we have to offer, and we offer a lot of it too through our partners. These are the ones that we teach specifically in-house from our staff, from our leadership, but our elective courses are often taught from outside vendors and resources that we have through our programs. So Power Partners with like Kaiser Permanente teaches some of our courses, Anthem teaches some of our courses. So we have a lot of other places that come in to facilitate some of these additional trainings that we offer.
Can I ask for perspective on the numbers? The leave administration course, 126 people out of how many people could have or should have?
So, well, actually, I don't have that number of managers and supervisors, because typically it's manager, supervisor level employees that are taking that course. That's why the numbers might be somewhat smaller relative to our county employee population. I can get back to you on some of those figures.
I just wondered if there's like compliance goals or goals for when
Yeah, the
people get
HRLAs are
trained.
one and done. So once you take those as a manager or supervisor, if you want to refresh them, sometimes people take those courses just to refresh themselves on certain topics. The HRLA series has 12 courses built within that series. So we have managers take all 12 of those courses. So every Thursday, they're in a morning and an afternoon session. They're taking those courses for 6 straight weeks. And once they've completed those, then they get their certificate of completion. When you step into management as a new manager, that's what those 126 would be for that given year. And I think actually in that year, we might have only taught 3 courses instead of 4. But typically we try and teach them at least once a quarter, depending on enrollment. So for that course, it would have been 127 new managers essentially last year that took that course, that stepped into some leadership role. And sometimes people take them sporadically. So while we like to have them in the 12 course series where they're taking them this course before that course, kind of like a prereq, it doesn't have to be that way. People can just take them as needed.
And for the other categories, what I'm looking for is how successful are we in getting people into mandatory trainings? And when you don't, at least in my office, if you don't take the sexual harassment training, your supervisor's going to ride you until you do it. So I expect 100% compliance within a time frame, but I don't know what the expectation is here or what the volume could have been if you had 100% compliance. So I was just wondering.
I do feel, honestly, if we had 100% compliance, the numbers would be significantly higher. So it really just depends on the location and the number of employees. And so it really is up to the department training processors to reach out to the staff at that given site to make sure that they complete these trainings within the timely manner. And so our office, we just attempt to try to log as many as we can for those that do submit the documentation. But yeah, I would imagine if it's 100% completion rate, the numbers would be fairly higher.
And one thing I want to note too is some of these are only required every few years. So when we're looking at a number of almost, of over 3,000 for sexual harassment, that we're trying to gather essentially half of the people probably through the year. Some years it's higher because more people took it in that 1 year and now need it again 2 years later. One of the things that we've done with staff development is we've started to tag into the quarterly meetings that happen for department heads. And one thing that we talk about in there are the training numbers. So we have seen significant increases in that accountability on the department side, where we have worked with departments to ensure that compliance at a much higher rate, because we have those conversations with higher level leadership who are aware of their compliance numbers based on the reports that we give to them for those quarterly meetings. So department heads in here can kind of attest to what that does for them to hear what those numbers are, to understand that they are out of compliance for X amount of employees, and they get that number by employee. So if you are a department of 500 and you've got 75 people out of compliance, they're looking to target those 75 people so that by the next quarterly meeting, they're in compliance fully, right? So we've done a lot to make those strides. And we will continue to do so. I think that when we start to report out in the next 1.5 to 2 years, these numbers are going to also drastically change with our shift from PeopleSoft to Workday, which will be a much stronger system for that accountability level from staff themselves, not just supervisors trying to ensure that staff are in compliance.
Yes, we'll bring it back at the next meeting.
Can I just add to that from a departmental level, like in my department, there's a strong push within HSA at least that everyone complete their trainings on time. What I do know is that sometimes we are out of compliance because we do have a number of employees that are on leaves of absence. And so I don't know that that information is transferred to HR as, to explain why we may not be at 100%, but there are reasons sometimes, legitimate reasons, right? Sure. So I just wanted to kind of chime in. I know that within HSA, there is a strong push and monitoring of those trainings.
Hi, Michael. So EEO program manager interim. So just what I'm gathering from the discussion here, are you looking for a more robust and comprehensive corrective action plan to address the compliance deficiencies and specific conversations to occur with like the department heads to ensure that we're actually I would say, implementing training effectiveness successfully within the program area. So I just want to get an idea of kind of what your idea is in terms of a corrective action plan instead of just the numbers themselves and taking those numbers to the next level, to your point, in terms of the level of effectiveness that you are looking to have for your own, not only personal information, but to take back to your program areas as well.
As a commissioner and a volunteer, I need to know what the numbers mean. And when you tell me we served 3,000 people, I could say, woohoo, but if it was 300 or 3,000 people out of 100,000, that's not so great. So I want to celebrate with you, but I don't know how to if I don't know what yeah.
No, that feedback is appreciated, just for somebody that's also newer to the county as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah, if I could just add to the point, it would be helpful to have context so that it does have meaning. Now, why people don't comply and that much in the weeds, I don't know if we need that. I'm assuming that there are already mechanisms in place, checks and balances, but just to give it more context would be helpful.
All right, thank you.
So typically, we report these out once a year, but we will make sure that that information and data comes back to you on your next report, and we will make sure to add that to this slideshow for future. So 3,000 out of, 3,300 out of 3,800 we're supposed to be for that year, we can definitely make that happen. Again, once we get to Workday in about a year and a half, we will definitely have much more solid numbers that look a lot cleaner, so.
All right, any other?
Hi, I'm Layetta, Program Manager and EEO Coordinator over at HSA. The courses that Christina mentioned, how often are, and obviously you won't have an exact number, but what is the frequency that someone's taking those courses? Because I know how you said we offer multiple courses on CSG Engage, but what, I mixed up two programs. I realized that, CSG Engage, but on SJC Engage. But how often are those courses being offered, and when can staff take those courses? Because she mentioned like transgression, was it microaggression? Sorry. Oof. So Oriana, you may know a little bit more about it.
Sure. So every year we come up with a new catalog. We actually have a meeting coming up next week where we're going to go over our trainings for 2027. It's next year, yeah, for 2027. What we do is we list out all of the course schedules for that particular year. We take a look at all of the books that are being offered, the course catalogs being offered from our outside vendors that help to support these courses, and we're able to pick and choose. So sometimes you won't see the same course come up for another 3 years or so, because we're typically taking about once a month they offer us these courses. So depending on the vendor, like Anthem, we might pull a class once a month from them, and so we look to see what's sort of trending for that year, what topics make the most sense to be taught in that year. And some we find that are heavily enrolled, we may do that one again because it seemed to be something of interest, right? For those things where we get an enrollment very low, we probably won't offer that one either again, or for some time if the topic comes at hand again. But we're constantly trying to be fresh and clean on the topics too, so we try to pick different things at different times, aside from those that are pretty standard. Like we do have one vendor who teaches specifically like writing courses, and we do those same ones over and over because people really need those writing courses, right?
Okay, one last comment or question. So we have our mandatory courses that seem to be required by legislation. Is there ever any consideration of the voluntary classes, some of them that are, really good, being made mandatory for staff?
That would be a larger conversation. Some departments, some people address that at the department level. So there are some departments that have mandated classes that other departments don't have because they feel it's a strong need for their particular department. So not to say that there wouldn't be, we have had like public service ethics was never a thing. A few years back, there were some issues with public service ethics for all staff. There was always a requirement for the higher up level leaderships for AB 1234. But a few years ago, there was a requirement and a need, or a request and a need for us to have a larger program for public service ethics. So maybe, I want to say it was like 3 years ago, I developed the public service ethics training that we currently do, which became a mandatory one-time thing for all staff, and it became a part of our new employee orientation process. We created a procedure for it. That sort of thing had to go to the board for approval. So there are different steps and layers, but absolutely there are topics that truly come along where we say, this is now a requirement of our county, where it would be more globally for every single department. So a public service ethics is a prime example of something that recently came out as mandatory for us with that process in place.
Great questions and comments. Anything else? All right. Thank you. All right, moving on to the, let's see here. Vote on diversity awards. So we have 2 awards, one for a county department and one for a county employee. So in our packets here, we do have a pretty thick packet, and I believe we're going to do this right now. Is that correct? Yes? Okay. So I guess we'll go through this and come back at the end and provide these to you. Okay. And just one point of clarification, for the County Employee Diversity Award, one of those individuals is from my department, so I probably will not rank those individuals. Okay.
Good call.
All right. All right, so I think the instructions are pretty self-explanatory. So I guess let's go ahead and get started here. I think we rank them from 1 to 4. 1 being first choice, 2nd being your second choice, and so on. That's for county department diversity, and then the same applies for county employee diversity, but those are 5 candidates.
And for those who may need additional time to review and select the top employee for the diversity award, you do have until the end of this week to go ahead and submit that top employee that you choose to select over to the and the department as well.
Thank you. I did have a concern because we kind of got this late and I didn't have time to review, so thank you for the time to submit this back.
Yes, of course. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I guess I'll ask, are we fine with submitting to the end of this week and not necessarily doing this right now? That is pretty thick for some of us that didn't read this ahead of time, yeah, okay.
Feel like that's reasonable.
Reasonable, okay.
Just a process question. Does this group have to, it says action, so I'm assuming we need to vote on it, but if we're submitting at the end of the week, do we still need to vote on it?
Yes, you can submit. Yes, you can make a motion to submit your top nominations for the employee in the department by the end of this week.
So the action is to complete the document, not to vote on the top 2.
I would say that the action is to submit the document by the end of the week to EEO.
Okay. And then you'll tally and
Correct.
let us know who won.
Yep.
Is that your motion?
Yeah, I move to postpone and give us some more time. And that time meaning the end of the week. Close of business Friday.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now it's time for any general comments from committee members. All right, no comments. Just quickly, thank you to HR and the EEO staff for always providing report outs, very informative, and you're always well prepared and willing to answer our questions. So thank you, appreciate it. All right, next meeting is Wednesday, October 7th, 3 p.m. in this room. And just a fun reminder, please send in your ranks by the end of this week. All right, that's it. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.